Good afternoon. This is Brett McDonald with the National Weather Service in Riverton, Wyoming. Today we'll be bringing you a weather briefing for the upcoming weekend and into early next week. Before we go over the forecast, let's take a look at the event that we just had last night. Got a little bit more snow for Wyoming. You can see by this satellite image with fairly clear skies the area of new snow, primarily where it's circled here. The biggest amount that we had was 2.4 inches just south of Lander, although that's not quite as much as we've gotten before. The interesting thing is this nice line of snow that you can see from eastern Wyoming all the way up into central Montana. And if we take a look at precipitation amounts, we can see that, yes, indeed, around the Lander area got a little under 2/10 of an inch, but the higher precipitation amounts were up in Montana and also down along the Front Range from Fort Collins into Denver area. So let's take a look at the forecast quickly. This weekend will be drying out and warming back up a little bit. And then on Sunday and into Monday, we're going to have another system similar to the one that we just had. So it'll bring some more snow, more to the north and east part of the divide, and then eventually into the western part of the divide, and cool things off definitely for Monday. We'll then see a return to some northwest moist flow, which will start putting more snowfall hopefully into the western mountains. Temperatures will warm up when we get back into that little bit of a pattern, and we'll just see where that cold air over central Canada decides to go. So let's get into the details here. Friday, tomorrow, our little weather system will be moving well off. We've got another little arm of that polar vortex low over southern Canada. They'll be swinging through the Dakotas, impacting a little bit of the northeast part of the state, bringing some partly cloudy skies to much of the area and maybe a few snow showers to the Bighorn Mountains and northeast Wyoming, but not much. Saturday, continuing with that northwest flow, but much of the activity stays in the Dakotas, and actually we'll see a little bit of warming and mostly sunny skies for Wyoming. Now, as we head into Sunday, we're going to see another little impulse out of Canada start to move down through Montana again. So we'll see another little frontal push later on Monday. It'll start bringing some precipitation to the Bighorns and northeast Wyoming, and then start moving down to the southwest, so that by Tuesday, that area of precipitation, notice the pattern here is very familiar, similar to the one that we had just last night. And it'll bring some cold air to northeast and eastern Wyoming and hopefully some precipitation for much of the rest of the part of the state. Meanwhile, high pressure stays pretty anchored along the west coast. Heading into Tuesday, that little boundary disturbance moves down into Colorado with the colder air staying over the central part of the state or the country. Meanwhile, we've got some energy moving in from the northwest, and by later on Tuesday, we'll definitely see a lot more increased cloudiness and snow start impacting the western mountains. So that on Wednesday, we'll see a few little disturbances, again combined from what's going on over Canada, coming in from the Pacific Northwest, and it'll create some periods of snow, mostly in the northwest mountains and potentially up around the northern Bighorns, Buffalo, and the northern Bighorn Basin. Some of our model guidance is suggesting this could be stronger, and so we could see some more precipitation in the rest of the part of the state, but we'll have to see what goes on. In this pattern too, when we get into this westerly flow, that's when we typically pick up those winds across the southern and central part of the state as well. So if we take a look at it from maximum temperature perspective, this weekend's actually going to be pretty nice, but as we move into Sunday and Monday, that colder air from Canada starts pushing in so that by Monday the temperatures drop to below normal in much of the area. The exception will be the southwest part of the state, but definitely Buffalo and Casper will be getting impacted by that cold, and then we'll see a rebound to those temperatures. The Jackson trace here in the purple actually stays pretty constant. Not much impacting it in way of temperatures, especially with snow cover on the ground over there. And looking ahead from midweek next week through the end of the week, Temperature-wise, looking at near normal, best chances near normal temperatures. However, with that pattern, that impact of the storms, the disturbances coming off of the Pacific combining with the colder air, looks to be above normal precipitation for Montana and Wyoming for the later part of next week. Thanks so much for listening to our weather briefing today. As always, please stay in constant contact with the latest weather forecasts. We all know how chaotic the weather can be, and keeping an eye on it forecast-wise is difficult. Also, keep an eye on WYDOT's websites with the webcams and road conditions to make sure things look good when you're out traveling. Take care and have a great weekend.